Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel YouTube, and finally welcome to another list video. Of course, this is the last one was like the top 5 EPs of this year. This one, top 10 miscellaneous albums of this year. Now, miscellaneous, basically it can mean anything, but it's kind of like a hodgepodge because there's definitely some rock in here. Like, this is not all metal. This is all rock. Some kind of interesting, some that are not really rock, but do kind of push at times a bit of that. That's why miscellaneous. So, without further ado, just like the last one, let me pull up the list on my phone here and go on to rate your music so I can, well, go on the list here. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it. Coming in at number 10 is the Kefter Gotha album from Lika I Commandos, who are I think they were a Croatian rock band. Yeah. I featured these guys on my not my top 6, but 6 Bandcamp 2017 releases that are worth checking out. And you probably saw the link to that. Just a pretty good rock album from very on the psychedelic side. It would be considered hard psych, I guess. Would be kind of that, but it's still a pretty good release. A lot of it is sung in their native language, and it's a pretty cool album anyway. But nothing really bad. So anyway, it was at number 10. I just want to try and zip in through this so I don't make a really big, long video. Alright, so coming in at number 9 is the Electric Mountains self-titled debut album, who of course were a Mexican stoner desert rock kind of band. Definitely pretty good. Another one that was also featured in my 6 Bandcamp 2017 releases that are worth checking out. So the thing is, the reason why I'm not adding a whole lot of input is because I already talked kind of about them. I'm just listing them in here because, well, they made at least my top 10 or so. And most of these, some of these definitely were on that list anyways. Just a really good album. Even from when it comes to that sort of genre of music, it's definitely good. Very raw and heavy. Just a solid album. Alright, coming up next at number 8 is Strandos Azul's self-titled debut, and there's quite a bit of debut albums here in some ways, kind of. Again, these guys are based out of Brazil. Just a solid hard rock album. I guess I wouldn't say hard rock, but it is definitely within that. Almost at times a southern rock tinge. And this is another band, of course, I featured in my 6 Bandcamp, 2017 releases. So the thing is, I'm not going to be, repeating the same link 3 times or so. So the thing is, I didn't really do a whole lot of reviews for some of these, but I liked them enough to put them on the list, and it's just, again, another really solid album from this Brazilian rock group. Alright, so finally coming in at number 7 is the album that's playing in the background. This, of course, is Thunder Under Us with their 2nd album, Another Good Time. Now, I did review this one already, and link you to that somewhere over here. I think will be right there, actually, because from my camera angle, I always do it here because of every time I look at my screen, it always would show up at least where I'm looking. But where you'll be looking is on this side, so you already saw the link, which will have been right there, just to at least let you know. if you don't catch it there. Anyways, just a solid hard rock album here. Definitely more straight up. Kind of almost has an AOR sort of feel on here, but there are times where they kind of sound almost kind of like somewhere between either the Rods or Kiss Thin Lizzy, stuff like that. Maybe at times, maybe like The Sweet in some cases, but it just kind of has that 70s, hard rock, early 80s rock kind of sound. Very good stuff, though. They are based out of... I'm actually forgetting to even show the artwork here. Let me kind of show the artwork off there, if just to... Oh, wait. Yeah, just a really solid album here. They are, of course, based out of Chicago. Just a really good album. Alright, so coming in at number 6 is surprisingly an album I didn't review. Oh, something interesting. Of course, the album after this is... Anyways, this is definitely a new one. Band that you rarely hear me talk about. Actually, you never hear me talk about. Because I always kept this almost kind of secret, even though the band that I'm going to be actually has a connection to another band that I kind of dig, though I don't own any by them, and I've never really listened to a whole full album, but from what I've heard, at least song-wise, from Pits, kind of like. That's, of course, is Villains from Queens of the Stone Age. Guess to show the artwork here for a bit. Oops. It's on the band page. Anyways, just that right there, if you hadn't seen already. Of course, Queens of the Stone Age, of course, were out of the ashes of Caius, which were definitely a 90s stoner desert rock kind of band. Kind of like Electric Mountain, the other one, which I think I did mention Queens of the Stone Age in that Electric Mountain, not review, but in the when I talked about in that 6-band camp 2017 releases. But they're just kind of good, and I do like some of Queens of the Stone Age stuff. It's very much, again, rooted within that 70s kind of rock sound. But this one definitely has that. But there's almost surprising, to me, a more pop-ish, almost new wavy, what would have been almost kind of like the Cars at times. But if you were to take that, add it to the Doors and David Bowie kind of thing. When I think of Bowie, I think like the earlier stuff like The Man Who Sold the World in some cases. And it's definitely not a bad album. It definitely did. And it definitely made it at number 6. It's just a really interesting album. There is definitely some rock on the album. I think the best song for me on this album is, let me get to there, is The Evil Has Landed. Definitely, to me, I think when it's like, I know there is probably one song on here that also has a hard rock feel, but this song, The Evil Has Landed, really has more of a hard rock feel to it. It really just pushes it to that edge. It just got a really hooky guitar riff to it that I definitely dig. Even the production, yeah, it's kind of very much got modern thing, but for some reason, because of the guitar tone, it's got a more of a garagey feel to it, which in some ways I definitely dig, and that's something that even Caius, I think, had as well, and of course a lot of those stoner rock kind of bands, they always had that garage feel, but this album isn't complete stoner rock. This is definitely not one of those stoner rock albums from Queens of the Stone Age. So it's definitely almost very commercial sounding, but it's not terrible either. It's actually something that's still very tolerable, at least in my opinion. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but I dug it enough to put in my list. So, Queens of the Stone Age, Villains at number 6. Alright, finally, something I actually do own. Well, some of these albums I did download it off of Bandcamp, so still I stayed within legal. Still, coming in number 5, album I almost felt like reviewing, but I never did, is the newest album from Styx. That's, of course, is The Mission. And I haven't really paid a lot of attention to Styx's later stuff, at least from the 2000s or the 90s, but this album is actually pretty good. It is definitely, of course, a concept album. This is why I should have done a review on this, but I didn't. It basically focuses on this team or so. What are they? God, it can't just give me a... Here, like... It's all got to do with the space team going to this planet. Of course, Mars. It's definitely the... but, yeah, the Global Space Exploration Program being a part of this thing, it's a very interesting sci-fi kind of story. It's definitely not a horror story like Event Horizon or Galaxy of Terror, but it's definitely more something like either just one of those PG kind of space film kind of stories or so. But it's not bad though. It's definitely a pretty good album overall. Because of the story, not every song is rock based. The only song on here that actually really has a hard rock feel is the song Gone, 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 which really harkens back at the old 70s stuff. Mostly, it's like I've seen someone say like the Wood Nickel stuff, and that kind of does come into play, like something that wouldn't be off like either like Madame Miracles or something like that. It's definitely the easiest, most likable song on the album. But there is some good songs on here. It's just because of being a story-based, it's not completely rock all the way. It's definitely, well, a commercially progressive rock album. But still solid enough to, well, put in a list. And probably, as far as Styx is concerned, when it comes to the newest stuff, definitely probably the ones that I like a lot. That I would say is almost as good as anything like Pieces of Eight or The Grand Illusion. So, with that, just a solid album from Styx. Finally, get back to the list on here. Coming in number 4 is No Rest for the Wasted from Mean Mother, who, of course, are a... Anyways, they are from, fuck, they don't even on radio music, they don't seem to. I forgot where they're from. Anyways, just a solid, this of course is the album right there. I did review the album already. It's just definitely a really good, hard rock album. Kind of garagey. It's not like, Electric Mountain, but there is a bit of a stoner rock feel, but it's more energetic, and it's definitely more emphasized on vocals, because the Electric Mountain was like instrumental. Anyways, really good album. I did a review on it. It's got some really good songs on here. The Rocker, Blackout, Knife in Hand, Between the Lines, Watch It Blow. There's just some really good songs on here. Just a really good, it's their second album. It's just a really solid album from Mean Mother. Band I just found out this year. So, let's keep moving on. Coming at number 3 is another thing I didn't review as well, but that's because of, I don't know if I would basically do, I don't know how I would attack this guy. At least in terms when it comes to like, his stuff. That's of course is the Anthology movie themes 1974 to 1998 from John Carpenter. Yes, the film director. And on here he basically, revisits a lot of his movie themes. So let me look up on the track listing here. So basically, you're going to get like Assault on Precinct 13, The Fog, Prince of Darkness, which is actually a pretty good, kind of a pretty good re-recording of that movie theme. Of course, Escape from New York. Of course, probably the most popular one on here, Halloween. And, of course, even revisiting, like, the Pork Chop Express from Big Trouble in Little China, which I actually have right here, the movie itself. Really good movie, though. And theme song, really good. Of course, They Live, classic movie, The Thing. Even some interesting ones like The Starman and Dark Star. And, of course, you got like even the Mouth of Madness. Actually, a pretty good re-recording of that. Very close to very rock, actually. Really, just a really cool album, actually. Just really cool. Just the re-recordings, everything, are all very well executed. In a way, just really good reimagining. Really, everything on here was all solid. Nothing really bad, of course. The movie themes are always really cool, and that was always something I always liked about John Carpenter's movies as well. Always had a really good film score that went along to at least those movies, especially stuff like Assault on Precinct 13 and They Live, The Fog. Just a lot of those movies, just really good. So, yeah, they made number 3. Was of course the Anthology movie themes 1974 to 1998, John Carpenter. Alright, finally getting back to stuff that I do own. At number 2 is of course this Paranormal from Alice Cooper. All reviewed this, don't have to say anymore, just that this was a really killer album from Alice Cooper. Just listen to this album quite a bit. This is definitely, in a long time, I think, one of the most, probably since from his 90s stuff, really one of the most straight up hard rock albums from Alice Cooper. Just there really is no bad song on this album. Everything is just solid stuff. Like probably the best songs there from here is like Dead Flies, Fireball, Paranoiac, Personality, and Fall in Love, and Dynamite Road are pretty much my standout tracks off the album. So there you go. Paranormal from Alice Cooper. So again, I already did a review, and you probably saw it right there. Now, finally, number 1. What's at number 1? Well, there's one album that I did review that hadn't yet been mentioned, and I saved it. Coming in number 1 is the debut full-length album from Brazilian rockers Blind Horse with their album Patagonia. The fact that this is at number 1 should be enough to say that this is one of the best albums. I think when it comes to even rock albums, for me this is actually one of the best of this year. Everything on this album is just amazing. And I did a review on this one, and I already raved about it a lot in that one. Just raw, heavy, bluesy, just really rockin' as well. Almost has that, there is a bit that psyche feel to it, but it's just more on the progressive kind of side. Just a really killer album. 6 songs. Yeah, it will always be an EP, but the fact is, the first track, Patagonia, which is the title track, and the song Soul Locomotive are some of the longest songs on this album. Patagonia being almost at 15 minutes and 50 seconds, and that is the song that opens up, is enough to like, and there really is no weak moment in the song. It's probably one of the best, and when it comes to long songs, this is just, it keeps my attention throughout. Just a killer opener of an album. The song, just, it's a really good album, and it's why it made number 1. Because when I found this, it was like I found a holy grail. I just found a gem, a diamond in the rough. This band deserves to get put on a label. I don't know why they haven't. Someone should. Really killer album, and why, and I've said enough. Just a really good album. So, there is my top 10 miscellaneous albums of this year, and just some really good rock albums I definitely found this year. And hopefully next year I find some other good rock albums. Hopefully there is some really good ones. Anyways, if you haven't heard all of these, I already linked to some of these reviews already, and you definitely will check them out. And which all leaves links to their Bandcamp pages, whatever. Anyways, time to get on to the top, well, best metal albums of this year. So, hope you enjoyed the top 10 miscellaneous sounds of this year for this channel. Until then, this is Heavy Thrasher Sam out. And take care. And I hope everyone had a great Christmas. And here is to at least a new year. Take care.